Hi everybody, hi from Cam. We're doing something different today, aren't we, Mike?
What, as in not normal, running around like headless chickens, trying to solve 100 problems and, fend off all the different issues that we have on site. Yeah, if that's different, then yeah, that is what we're doing that's different.
We've got a bit of calm and tranquility for the first week back, haven't we? Sort of. I mean, I guess we've gone from problems being on site, which is normal, isn't it? Like every day there's a problem, to kind of doing more strategic problems and addressing some of their strategic issues.
Yeah, you've heard me say 100 times, haven't you, when I've had a meltdown, that, we used to, when we first started, it used to be one problem a month.
Yeah.
And we would solve that. And now I say that we went to one problem a week.
Yeah.
A problem on every site, every day, twice a day. So
yeah, I think that's been a function of the times we're operating in, but also we scaled up quite quickly, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
3-4 sites at a time, so you're multiplying all those problems, but it has been compounded by what I would say is being a very, very challenging.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
And every other developer out there, I'm sure you'll all agree, we've really struggled with price increases. There's so many companies that it are forced into administration. They're in fixed price contracts, and they're suffering heavily with the price of materials.
I mean, yeah, if you think about one of our schemes, I mean, the budgets were set in 2020. So, you were in the middle of COVID, Brexit, there was depression on prices, wasn't there? So, whilst it was very realistic there, and you price in for some expected inflation, but nothing that we've anticipated, given the fact we're more than 2 years in that scheme, because we didn't want to be in the scheme that long either.
Absolutely not, no.
But because of all the compounding effects of everything that's been going on in the economy and the construction industry, we've had delays that we just would never have anticipated. So that's compounded it as well, hasn't it?
I said to someone who comes to one of our sites, and I've been in construction all these years, I have never known it like it, and there's no way, whether you're a main contractor or a developer, that you could have written the book to say, by the way, when I'm 18 months or a year into that contract, inflation is going to be, if you'd have wrote a JCT contract and say, across the terms I wanted, a 10% or 15% inflation increase on prices, the client would have just said no. So you could never have written it. It's just impossible.
Yeah, and by the way, this is actually green tea, and it's not alcohol to kind of steady the nerves of what we've had over the last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had some of our suppliers go bust on us, haven't we?
We have, we've had a couple, yeah.
Yeah, which is painful because we can't get that money back.
And you've got to pay someone to do the work again, so radius utilities, and in some of these cases these people knew what they were doing, and it's just unscrupulous, absolutely unscrupulous.
And I think the guy that we've been dealing with that had connected with Radius, they've actually had a stroke through the stress.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, Dave. Yeah,
you have the compounding effects of something.
I forgot about that.
It was, he's suffered a lot. And the issue is because when you have a supplier that, initially you're happy with, you probably use them across your 3-4 schemes that you've got going. So we had a massive magnitude impact of what had happened to us.
Exposure was great, wasn't it? Huge for it.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing's the banks and the financiers are supporting us, but that doesn't come for free either.
No,
so
it does not.
You have to pay for that support. So that's been an added strain on us, hasn't it? As well.
Yeah, financially, to have to start picking up interest payments on tickets you've got, and it's not interest payments at the beginning, is it? It's interest payments when you're holding a big chunk of cash at the end. Yeah. Not as in holding cash, but as in
you've drawn
down nearly everything.
Or your facility,
yeah. Yeah, you've nearly got the whole facility in there, so you're paying interest on millions rather than tens of thousands.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is, though, we're very sensible, aren't we? We just stopped paying ourselves.
Sorry, did we get paid? Hold on a minute. Did we get paid?
No, the first rule is always pay the bank first.
Yeah.
Always
You're listening,
pay
Steve.
Always pay the bank first, and then I pay the credit cards.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. And then, we've got these facilities with our pension. It's called a small self-administered scheme, which has enabled us to invest in our business with our pension. So, we're fine. We're lucky. We've got roots in to continue to support us through those challenges, haven't we?
It's not bottomless.
No, it's not.
That's the thing to remind people. It's not bottomless, but we don't believe in exposing anybody who's on the journey with us. And there's lots of great investors out there that have been in 2 or 3 schemes with us, that are on the journey with us. That I'm sure they appreciate that we've got as much skin in the game.
Yeah.
As they have as well. So
absolutely.
The lovely.
Yeah. And we're going to
sat here in Yorkshire, if we could all disappear up like a.
Yeah, we're not going to let that happen.
No, we're not. We're not. You've heard me say it 100 times on videos, haven't you? You've just got to carry on. You've just got to keep strong, and carry on. Keep calm, carry on.
I mean, I think our solution was really we just rolled our sleeves up and have been far more involved than we would do on a normal basis. And we've made that decision to scale back whilst we focus on the delivery. So a lot of that strategic work that Mike and I would have normally focused on, we refocused on the essentials of day-to-day delivery and focusing on making sure we got over those everyday problems that, as you said, it was like, once per month. Now it's like
a metronome. It was constant, wasn't it? It was every bloody moment.
Yeah.
Just back to the materials. I think what's going to be interesting is, I think we'll see. I don't know what other developers think. I think we're going to see some really interesting results from some of these suppliers when their P&Ls come out and they get posted onto Companies House. I think we're going to see some very interesting jumps in profit margins for these companies, because I think there's been some opportunism here.
There's certainly been opportunism. You can tell by the percentage of the increase, and no matter how you break it down, you can't. You cannot come to the price increases that we've been forced to hatch. But as a result of that, we've increased our supplier base, haven't we? Because we've shopped around more. And I think even during the trust economics, you could even tell with the
trust economics. Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, I'm calling it that. I'd like to use some of the words, but probably can't use it on this video.
Don't think we'll get posted.
I don't think we'd get posted.
Okay.
But during that time, even the likes of Travis and Jewson's, the gates came down because
they did,
they suddenly became very cautious and worried about construction companies that wouldn't be able to afford to pay their bills. So, it's definitely been far more challenging to navigate around being able to use our usual credit. Now, Mike and I, thankfully, we've got some very healthy net asset statements. So we've been able to put our personal guarantees forward for that, which has enabled us to, gain more credit.
Here in Yorkshire.
Yeah. But, every month, I have conversations, with them about, their approach to the accounting, but we just keep getting told that they've become very, very cautious with the outlook. So, they're looking after their balance sheet as we are.
I get it. I do get it. I understand that, to make sure that they're as liquid as they can be. But I do definitely believe that there'll be some very interesting looks. Well, I hope maybe they won't. But, when you see some P&Ls for some of these suppliers, because I understand their costs have gone up.
Yeah.
Costs of material. No, absolutely. We're seeing steel prices that are just eye-wateringly expensive.
Yeah.
And it's sadly we're also seeing the effects of that. There's plenty of reported data from trusted houses and analytics that show that there's a construction slowdown.
And I think that's a really interesting point, isn't it? Because as everything goes around cycles, we'll have the luxury of being able to pick the suppliers and the contracting teams that we want to work through. And I think this last year has really shown the integrity or the greed and I know which ones we're going to be picking to stick with and work with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And we've got our...
Yeah, we have, absolutely. We got it, absolutely, we have.
Absolutely,
We have. But tough year, yeah, a really tough year. And I've said it before on videos, and you and I have talked about it immensely. We've argued about it, we've fought and cried about it, is that it's hard for people to understand that the cost of the product at the end, the homes that we're building, they're actually going down, the value of them. It's becoming a lot more difficult to get mortgages, and I'm not here to discuss that, but it is a lot more. The cost to build the home has gone up. So the bit in the middle, the bit that's left, is being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and something has to give, because it's just not sustainable. And on a much more macro point, it's important that the leaders out there in central government understand that as small SMEs like you and I count, we feed an awful lot in through regeneration. Quality homes in areas where people can get to schools easily, they can access high street facilities, and they can live within areas where their friends and family are. And we feed an awful lot of numbers, tens of thousands, into that bottom line of the amount of houses that are built every year. If the idea is that we'll just rely on the tier ones because I say it all the time, if you give me a green field and say, Mike, you need to go and build 50 homes in there, the only thing that would stop me would be money, nothing else, because it's so easy. I mean, it is so easy to build houses on a flat field in the middle of nowhere, where you haven't got to dig up services or deal with constraints of neighbours or be next to a school or wherever it might be. Regenerating in areas where people want to live is extremely challenging.
It is, and I think as well, when you come to trying to do off-plan sales, it's very hard, because you're taking in people and asking them to visualise a finished product when it still looks like a building site, because you have to store your materials
100%.
on there, your skips, and it's so challenging to help people visualise. Whereas when they go to these nice open greenfield sites, I mean, there's one behind my mum.
Yeah, there is, the one there at Cop.
They just focus on building a share home right at the front, and they've got all these houses around, and they'll be able to sell so many off plan, because they don't need to visualise, they don't need to take that leap of faith, they've got something to look at.
Touchy-feely, tactile, isn't it?
You don't have that, do you, on a really, really tight site? So we've had to make some very difficult decisions to take the product off the market.
Yeah, we did,
until we can literally get the show flat ready. But that is predicated on having everything dug, the utilities in to get your electrics, and it being a nice clean site. So you have to finish the works, don't you?
Yeah, operational delivery in a regeneration. And it's the same for, and those of you who know me, it's the same for the development of an office block or an anything in the city. Its logistics are extremely challenging.
Yeah.
Never mind the bit at the end, like you say, you can do all the CGIs and walkthrough videos you want. If you're in a challenging market like we're in now, because we are in a challenging sales market, people want to see what they're buying, and they're prepared to wait.
Yeah, and I think as well, one of the challenges for last year is that, the Help to Buy, if you didn't have your applications in by the 31st of October and couldn't guarantee delivery, practical completion by December, you'd miss the whole of the Help to Buy. And what we were finding were people were coming to our flats going, really like your look and your feel, each flat's unique, they're not a box, are they high ceilings? They could see all that, they wanted our flats. But because we didn't know what was happening with the utilities, and they could see us compared to a flat they didn't like as much but was a bit further along, they didn't want to have the gamble with ours. So, the Help to Buy market has dropped away for many people as well, and ourselves.
Yeah, there were stats that said that although it only supported something like, I know they say that all statistics are made up, but they're not. It was in the 30, 32, 35% of first-time buyers were with Help to Buy. But it was definitely good for the market.
And I think the area we were in, you know, they're talking about statistics across the UK, aren't they? But
Yeah.
the area we're in, Purley Coulsdon,
Was
for the flats,
much higher.
absolutely prime. Everybody was buying those, and it just meant they could buy much larger flats
Yes.
than they would have normally afforded. Now, we'll still be able to sell the flats, but there'll probably be higher demand for the smaller flats, because that's what people will be able to afford.
There's some other schemes coming on that you and I looked at some of this that I don't understand them. I've not read enough about them. We started reading yesterday, didn't we? We're up here in the office in Yorkshire, but it definitely helped 100%. But yeah, look, you know, if we could borrow a substantial amount of money to buy a green field, not necessarily a green field, but you know what I mean, a piece of land, and go and get planning on it like the tier ones do. And have that facility, you know, we could easily deliver. It's 10 times easier. Don't anybody try and tell me otherwise, because I just will not be having it.
And we won't be doing like 3-4 schemes a year, would you? So
yeah, you just do one and
do
phase
one.
it.
Yeah, and phase it. So what you've got with 4 schemes, you're dealing with 4 sets of architects, 4 sets of building control, 4 sets of building warranties,
problems, isn't it?
4 design elements, 4 ways you've got to look at the bathrooms. You know, it's 4 sets of issues. And it would be great, wouldn't it, just to have one very large site to focus all your attention on. And then Mike and I would be sitting in the Caribbean having our cocktails instead. I think while the team would be doing it.
It's certainly, and it's so much easier to deliver operationally. It really, really is. It's just a field where you build houses. You haven't got to worry about drilling into the train line, or the asset protection from Network Rail, or
party
wall agreements, the people fighting you right to the last minute, and you know, as you say, then all the deliveries and materials and parking for your contract. It's just it can be done. It's just extremely difficult as well.
Well, to try and source something like that, you're competing with the big boys, aren't you? So that's why we're often, you know, we get the crumbs, don't we?
Yeah, we're scratching around like a broody hen.
Yeah.
That's a Yorkshire thing, by the way. we don't, and it's as Carol said, we've focused now on finishing the schemes that we've got, but we do have. And we're going to release to the market what we'd like to do in the first 2 quarters of next year. And we're not going to talk about it too much on the video, because I personally think, I don't know about you, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a phenomenal idea, and I think if we can find a trusted partner that will come on that journey with us, for both of us, the security, and there's real opportunity. But it's only going to be in those first 2 quarters, as we agree, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've got some people that we're going to punt our ideas out to, haven't we?
We are.
But on, you know, whilst we're finishing and punting these ideas, we've got
we're laser focused on finishing. You know, bringing momentum to.
We've got another site to start here as well.
Yes, where we are here. Excuse me, scratching out. Where we are here in Yorkshire, we're just starting. The architect was
finishing up some little bits of the design elements, aren't we? We're just
give him a bit of feedback yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, we just want to tweak it to make it. They're going to stand out for this area, I think.
Absolutely. Like all our product. I stand by our product. I've never. You know, people hear me rant on about it all the time, but we build a traditional built, solid floors. That allows us to do lovely underfloor heating, where when you haven't got a nice big room like this, you know, you can see the radiators I've got because it's an old place. When you've got the constraints of a smaller flat, you know, Carol was able to get the design orchestrated so that you can push your furniture back against the wall, so you make the most of your living space in your new home. And our products, you know, those vinyl plank floors, and you know, the Italian doors we do, and those, you know, nice German kitchens. They and I say it all the time. The quality of the workmanship that we do sets us apart. It's not us being like, look at us, we're great. It's just that's what we decided when we set out on our journey, and we've stuck to it. And the same applies to what we're doing up here in Yorkshire. We're building a nice traditional cottage that's going to really appeal.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they are going to be really pretty.
Is everything we build, I want to move in.
You do, yeah. Although we looked at a property yesterday, we know we're not talking about buying anything. We still get stuff sent to us, and we for light entertainment. If while we're having a cup of tea, we looked at it. It was a beautiful house sent yesterday, wasn't there?
Oh,
I've chased that up, by the way, but it was just while I was. And so I had this lovely big detached house, and it had it's got room for development, but it had a big swimming pool complex at the back. And Carol said, I said, I know what you're going to say. You went, I want to live there. So for wherever we're looking at barn conversion, Carol was, oh, I'd like to live there. But again, these cottages are part of that brand journey.
They are, and I think they do stand out because we've got that attention to detail. With you do find an architect, if they've kind of done that design before somewhere in that area, they'll throw you that because obviously it's cheaper for them just to do a replacement rather than start from scratch. But we very much make sure that we're going back with absolute, you need to change this, 100%. How can we modernise that? What's the flow of the feel when you go in? Let's get more light in.
Absolutely.
What do the modern families want? Minimum, your en suites and your bifolds and, garden rooms that look out to the back, and these are just, simple cottages, but we're not accepting our first draft, are we?
No, we don't. It's in the same way as we try to VE the materials that we've chosen or look at or decide that we're going to use. Exactly the same with, Carol's got a great eye for design, and, I think I've got a good eye for construction, and the combination of the two, really work. And it's something we'll talk about in a minute.
I was going to say that, Lucy.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. But, the only challenge for the properties here up here in Yorkshire is a pair of them are south facing. We're smack bang that way, south facing, and the orientation of the properties is we decide whether we move them forward and have the garden room there or move it back. We're not unsure about that. So there's still a little few tweaks to be made, but we are going to start this. We've got planning that runs out this year, so we're going to start these so that we retain the planning. And if we start it, we've got the feeling we may as well just finish it.
Or might even keep these in our portfolio, mightn't we?
Yeah. Well, look, when it comes to all things money, as everybody knows us and knows Carol, I just do as Carol tells me.
He's such a paper.
It's not. It's so much easier that way. It's so much easier. What do I know about accountancy? Nothing. And tax and investment and investors.
Well, I think the thing is, I'm a natural investor, so I like collecting the properties. And you're like, no, just want to build, sell them, and everything. That I think I might have persuaded you.
Yeah, I'll always take. Look, and it is. I'm not being facetious. It is true. Carol knows my feelings on that. As much as we butt heads as business partners. Whatever Carol says we're doing financially, that's what we're doing. I can tell you that. And for anybody out there who's involved with this, that you'll not steer me away from it. If Carol says we're doing that, that's what we're doing. Because I trust. Well, I know so much no pressure is that I trust you 1,000,000% with that.
Yes.
It's an impeccable talent you have for attracting like-minded people, investors, and thank you to you all. We've got some great investors that go on the journey with you.
Exceptional investors.
Yeah, we have. We've got a great team.
Don't they?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But you haven't put a foot wrong in your career, and I don't think you're going to put a foot wrong.
Shall we? It's very nice. I always get very embarrassed.
Yeah, she does. But I like to do it because it keeps on. But yeah, we were talking earlier about our key skills, and for those of you that know us, we have
opposing skills.
Yeah, they are, and they are opposing at times because
and opposing personalities as well.
100%. Yeah. I'm that big bolshy lion character that likes to roar around, and Carol's not. Carol's more reserved and more focused on making factual decisions, whereas I can be a bit more emotional. But our two skill sets with Carol running the business, and Carol doesn't just do finances, by the way, and it has to be said, and we'll say that in a minute, she has rolled her sleeves up. Carol looks after the business and I looked after construction, and it seemed to work.
Yeah, and I think that's what funders all liked, because we had the business set and we had the construction experts. So we had the experts in two fields, which under normal circumstances runs like a dream.
Excuse me.
Absolutely runs like a dream, doesn't it?
We did, and
however,
pause, exclamation mark. I was probably about 18 months ago. I got a bit poorly. I got like indigestion, but I'm a bit of, for those that know me, I still play rugby, and I'm a bit of a, look at me, I'm a man, I'm tough, and look at that. It's just indigestion. Don't worry about it. I'll get out on the rugby pitch, and that'll learn them, won't it? That'll learn them. But it can.
That's Yorkshire, by the way.
Yeah, that is Yorkshire. And no, that wasn't the case. Let me tell you. And I've ended up been very poorly. Carol had to take me to A&E once, and I'm not a prima donna. Again, for those that know me, I have a super high pain threshold. But let me tell you, I had stomach pain related to my pancreas and my gallbladder
and your liver.
And my liver. And I'm telling you now, I've never experienced pain like it.
I've never seen a grown man like you. So, you know, Mike's 6 foot.
One and a bit. In my socks.
And he was absolutely floored,
Yeah.
crawling around on the floor.
Yeah.
We had the hotel staff in with defibrillators because we weren't actually sure.
Yeah.
We thought he might have been actually having a stroke or a heart attack.
Yeah.
Struggled with breathing.
Yeah.
The state of the NHS, we couldn't get an ambulance.
12 hours.
Yeah. So
Carol had to take me. She had to rush me to A&E.
Can't find the entrance to the A&E.
It was.
We don't even more stress.
It was a bit, and that, and even then, stupidly, I should have.
You walked out first.
I did, yeah, because it is challenging.
You couldn't cope with the pain and knowing that you had to wait an extensive period of time. You just wanted to crawl.
I just needed
and
pain
die
relief.
in a corner, basically.
I absolutely did, yeah. Now this continued stupidly. I know, and those that know me will be going, I told you, I know. And I did end up.
Mike's very strong-willed and he's very principled. So despite
absolutely principled, yeah.
his business partner, all his friends, people that really care about him, saying to him, please get this seen to, please get this seen to, I think you thought it would just go away, didn't you?
I just thought it would go away.
But it was his body giving a massive warning.
Yeah, it was. Despite Carol trying to get me to eat more vegetables, which I do eat, but not as many as she would like. And I am a pescatarian, so I do like fish, you know. I'm not anti-red meat. Yeah, well, that's once when I come down. I'd eat fish whenever I can. I did end up, sadly, in October, I ended up being hospitalised for a couple of weeks.
And I think you were actually in and out of the business from September.
Yes, absolutely.
You were in and out of hospital and feeling sick and ill, and you couldn't get your mojo, could you?
No, and it did affect the way that I spoke to people, including Carol and family and friends.
You were completely stressed out.
Yeah, 100%.
I think you thought you had cancer, didn't you?
I thought it was over, if I'm perfectly honest. I thought that, you know, that my body had just given up, and despite
and he didn't being a guy, he didn't share that with people that are very close to him. He just bowed his head and tried to deal with it, but it just came out in so many ways, didn't it?
I was angry. And do you know what? I was angry, you know, with everything and everybody, everything, you know, and I am that big building rugby playing guy who thinks, I'll just smash through that.
You couldn't say hello, and you'd be like ducking for, what's he going to say now? What's he going to...
Thanks to Carol's help, and we're lucky enough to have Bupa. We found out what it is. Went there the other day.
But that's taken September, October, November, December.
Yeah.
That's taken 4 months of digging in and trying to get you seen to, and trying to get the NHS to look at you, Bupa to look at you, false starts, you thinking you could deal with it, and 4 months of stress.
But this chapter of the video isn't about so we have now got it in hand, because I've got an operation coming up next Wednesday. It's going to, again, take me out of the business for a while. But the point of this is, we didn't realise how reliant on each other's skill set we were until this happened, because Carol had to roll her sleeves up and do her job and my job and other jobs. And it, you know, people always see me doing this. It stress tested our business to the absolute limit. And in fact, in some areas, it actually broke, because I think we've, suffered because of that. My stupidity in not getting it sorted earlier has affected, operational delivery, our sales delivery, our velocity. Sorry, it's affected so many issues, and that's what it shot. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that, like so many businesses,
it's impossible.
You can only spin so many plates. It doesn't matter how good you are, because there's only 24 hours in the day for a start. Yeah,
on top of being a challenging environment, isn't it? That's the added complexity.
You're trying to...
I I jumped in. I became the construction director
You became the everything.
and the business director,
You-
and the I'm not a construction expert, and
That's-
when you're operating every day in a field that's not your expertise, that's a stress.
Excuse me.
That's a stress on its own, isn't
Yeah.
it? But yes, there's certain decisions and things I had to make, which I think if you'd been there,
Yes.
you would have made a different decision
100%.
or an
Yeah.
alternative, or come up with a different way of solving the problem.
Yeah.
I have to say we've been supported very well by Richard and Laura on our team.
I can't imagine how, I say it all the time, sorry,
Yeah.
just to mirror what Carol's saying there, I can't imagine our business without them.
Yeah.
We've just done a little presentation for this
Yeah.
new proposal we've got for the for this year, and I say about Richard, his attention to the smaller details, just averts those huge mistakes you get at the end, because you've just missed that one little thing. And Laura's got your tenacity when it comes to chasing down procurement and making sure that the teams are getting done. So we
work very well together, actually. Problem solving.
Yeah, you do. You're very similar personalities, aren't you?
We are.
Yeah, it's the two very key people that we've picked up.
Yeah.
And
couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah, I'm eternally grateful to you both. I am. I say thank you all the time. But again, they both got the rough end of the stick when I was poorly.
Yeah,
because that's the kind of character I am, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
you're like a big grizzly bear, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's like you go into your cave and you try and hibernate and hope that when you wake up in the spring you're going to be healthy again.
Yeah.
But instead you just woke up with the same
pain.
Grizzly.
Do the voice, go on, you do.
Do I?
Carol does this like Chewbacca impression of me. She always tells me about that big grizzly bear, that story. And she goes, but it's bloody true, because I was a big old.
And because I was taking on so much pressure, I had to offload some of that to the team. So everybody's had to dig in, and thankfully they've stayed with us. But we had people going off on holidays, Christmas, people going off, for the month trips, because a lot of our subcontractors are from overseas.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
And it's a big vigil, isn't it, that they go on for that period. And before that, there was holidays of our key contractors and Laura. So, but people did step up, and we've got through that period now, haven't we? And I think I feel quite calm about it all now. I've learned I know.
Quite calm.
Be calm. I think it was one of those things where, I was probably that duck or the swan, looking quite calm on the front, but underneath,
surface,
my legs were just spinning. I hardly slept. I was getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every day.
I always tell Carol off about her sleeping.
But I couldn't sleep because there was just so much going on and so many challenges. And I'm the type of person what's the point in sleeping? I may as well get up and get the work done. Yeah. But I did know in my head it wasn't sustainable. And, as a business, we were very sensible, and we've got critical man insurance.
Yeah.
But the point is, it makes you feel safe when you take it out. But actually, at what point do you invoke it?
Yeah.
Because we kept thinking Mike was going to get seen to, and we kept thinking that it would be just another week. So you think by the time you get hold of insurance company, find someone, advertise, interview, you might have a few false starts. What was the point? So, you even question, the value of that, because it wouldn't have really served its purpose, would it?
Well, it's like now we only found out Carol kindly came to the having the operation done here in Yorkshire, kindly came to the consultation with Mr. Ali the other day, Dr. Ali, thank you, and we said, we've got key man insurance, let's use it, but
but the reality,
how did you go find somebody to cover? Because
it was over Christmas, and no insurance companies were. We couldn't get hold of our contacts anyway. And now we know what it is, and you're going to just be out for a few days and then gradually back in. We've been dealing without on this basis in September, so it's not a problem, and we've got over the main challenges, I think. So I think now we're in a good place to deal with it.
Yeah, we've got the challenges on our schemes that everybody has. We talked earlier about the materials and subcontractor prices. We talked
And
earlier.
availability of subcontractors. I mean,
Absolutely.
they could pick and choose where they went, turn up, do a day with you, and then do another 2 weeks somewhere else, potentially on a residential where they get higher premiums, and you were getting fitted in.
Yeah, we were.
Even though you have people say on a fixed price, and you say about,
they weren't worried. There was no value on relationship. I think what we're saying is, and we've seen this an awful lot in the early 2000s when we were building commercial stuff. We've seen that someone's head would get turned for an extra 25 quid or an extra £1 a metre or whatever it might be, and they would just go. They didn't value the relationship. Where it's the one thing that Carol and I, and the Khan Group, we really do. That's relationship, not just with our subcontractors. We've got a fantastic relation with, Leon and Ray down at Assured, and that's a relationship we've built.
Yes.
Both ways. With Leon and Ray, and with ourselves, and we try to do the same with our subcontractors. So, but certain elements within the construction industry just don't value that, and you're never going to change them either. I've been in it long enough, and I hope some of my old construction buddies will agree with that. They won't change. They'll always go £1 a metre more. They'll go.
And I think this is what's shocked me most
about
digging into the construction side of things. I come from a very different, very professional corporate background, and everything is built on relationships and the long-term ability of win-win situations that you can build together, and all of that just completely went out of the window. And I've been shocked at the absolute greed and lack of integrity and the hostility.
Oh yeah,
aggressiveness.
And let me tell you, for some of those who took advantage of Carl while I was poorly, I'll not forget, because you wouldn't have done it to me, I tell you. But the real hostility towards Karen in some of those, I'll not forget that. But you also, the Christmas thing, when I was trying to say to Karen, look, the people no, there's still 2 weeks left. I went, they've already got the Christmas jumpers on and they're planning the Christmas parties, and you're like, that's exactly what happened. Excuse me, sorry.
Because for my world, you're working right up till Christmas Eve, getting your deliverables done. You've got your goals. You've got your, you're getting measured on your performance like every quarter.
Not your Christmas jumper.
And not your Christmas jumper. Yeah, and you have to achieve those. And if you don't, then you are on the naughty list. I.e., meaning you could be sacked. So, I'm used to a very different, a high achiever kind of environment, and I couldn't believe some of the behaviour towards the Christmas period.
It's relationships. For all those who know us, and I say that a lot in this video, how much we value relationships. Sometimes we're not getting everything for budget, we have to pay more, but we value the relationships, because equally we think sometimes there'll be a time when we really can't stretch our budget, and if you have that strong relationship with your supplier, your subcontractor, and your all your others, then they'll go on that journey with you. Relationships, I can't emphasize enough. If it's a one bite of the cherry scenario, you'll be forever chasing your tail trying to find contractors to do it for a £1 a metre cheaper, and they won't be able to obtain that quality or deliver that quality, should I say, for the brand that we have, because it's part of our brand is quality.
I think one thing that I'm quite proud of is that the people that buy into the relationship model with us and have stuck with us through the challenges, we've always said to them, if we win, you're going to win, because we will share in our gains with you.
100%.
And we don't plan to deviate from that at all, do we?
100%, we're not going to. And there's a continuity of work. We have a budget to work to. We're very open and honest about that. We work with our suppliers and our subcontractors. And if they can deliver the work and turn a bit of profit for themselves, then that's a win-win for us all, Fonzie, isn't it?
Profit's not a dirty word, is it?
No,
because,
not at all.
If they succeed, we succeed.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
we're very focused on our subcontractors, making sure they've got profit. And we've had to adapt, because of the environment, we've had to adapt how we've been working with our main subcontractor because we could see that they were struggling.
Yes.
Now, if they were going to struggle, we were going to struggle. So we reworked everything, the financial packages, how we were able to remunerate, everything. And that was very important to us. And we see this team as, coming forward with us.
100%.
It's
relationships.
Yeah.
It's people to go on the journey with you as well.
And you can have open, honest conversations with them.
Absolutely, you can as well.
Yeah.
But that's it, it's a challenging year all round, not just because of health, but for the reasons we talked about, materials and subcontractors.
I was even trying to get a break, wasn't I, over Christmas to rejuvenate? And, I ended up having to call an ambulance from Scotland for Mike here in Yorkshire. Because he just couldn't get anywhere with the NHS or Bupa, and everybody's kind of shut down.
Yeah.
And, it's been challenging, hasn't it? But
it has. But they always say if it was easy, everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
There's times when I've thought we're not going to get through it, but with Carol's strength of character, we have got through it because she shows me the error of my ways. But moreover, she does shine a light going forward. I might have some of the silly big ideas. Carol's that steady. I always used to call myself the steady hand on the tiller. Well, I've certainly handed that tiller over now because Carol is that hand on the tiller that steadied us, through this. It's a difficult year, a very difficult year, and if we can get through this, we can certainly get through anything because the housing market. Sorry, I spilled the tea. We've had a lot of spilt tea the last couple of days, haven't we, Miss Robinson? We've got an office over there where we keep knocking cups over and splitting on the desks.
Yeah, for my steady hand, I can be quite clumsy, if that makes sense.
It has been a difficult year for everybody, not just for us. We're not just saying, look at us, whoa, it's been tough. Been tough for everybody.
But I think it's actually made us stronger, and there's truth in all their statements, isn't it? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it has. It's shown flaws in our business that we need to tighten upon, which is what we're working on. It's given us strategic direction for 2023
and onwards.
And onwards. And I think you have to look at all of that to give you sanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think more importantly is that we absolutely believe in what we do and our product, and we know we've got a very, very good business. Like any business, it's got its issues and its problems, but we know how to address those. And I think going back to you and I, you're the creative, strategic thinker, aren't you? You're the one that can see the way forward, and I'm like, right, Mike, give me that. I will work out how we deliver that and put the pieces together and cross the T's and dot the I's. Now that's not a natural thing for me, but because of my background, I can actually turn my hand to it. I actually quite like a lot of the creative stuff, which is why I get into more of the the design. This is part of one of my business roles.
Has been developed by Carol.
And that stuff.
Logo.
Yeah, but you've got a really, really excellent strategic brain, and because of that strategic and creative brain, when we do have problems, I think we're able to come together and get those solved, aren't we?
Definitely, apart from the little blip that we talked about with my health, that's exactly that. I'll have 5 great big ideas, or I'll present 10 great big sites, and have this is what we're going to do, and Carol will temper that a little bit.
Yeah,
and
it's tempering a bit, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. And I respect that, because otherwise, I'll just be a bloody pipe dreamer. I'll just be having bloody daydreams about owning vineyards and it's a long story, but it's a long story. But you need that, and when we're both firing on all cylinders, we're both, I believe, and I'm sure you do, we're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. But as I said to your dad many times,
my dad.
Yeah.
Love my dad.
Yeah, and he's joined us in.
He bloody has joined us. I love you, Dad, for that.
Yeah, helping us get over some of the challenges and everything. I just used to say to him, I just want my business partner back, because I didn't have you for 4 months. Yeah, really. 4 to 5 months. And I just, even though you can step into somebody's breaches, you can never step into them well enough. but it's having that sounding board
Yeah.
to bounce off problems and issues. And I had to find my own way around that, and it would never compensate. So I'm just like, I want my business partner back, and I'm so glad that we're on that road.
Absolutely, yeah, as well. Yeah, for those again, I'm going to say, for those that know me, everybody knows my dad's my hero and my best friend and my business partner. But he's become yours as well, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
You love Papa Smurf, don't you?
Yeah, we call him Papa Smurf.
Yeah, he is. My dad is an exceptional man, let me tell you. And if I ever grow up to be half the man he is, that'll be something special.
Yes.
But 2023, here we are. I would toast you with a cup of tea, but I can't drink. And do you know, and how much, for those that know me, there we are again.
No biscuits, no tea.
No biscuits, no tea. Can you imagine me? No biscuits, no tea. Although the doctor did say I can have it with skimmed milk. So but 2023, we've got a little proposal coming out.
Yeah, we've got some
Watch
really
out, watch your
exciting
space.
plans for 2023. Yeah. First off, it's delivery.
Yeah, 100% laser.
Starting our other scheme.
Yeah. Here in Yorkshire.
Yeah, getting on board our funders to deliver the quite exciting, strategic, big picture thinking of Mike, which I'm on board with. I don't think this needed to be tempered at all.
No, not at all. I think we'd always talked about it. It's all something good. It's like you say, starting here is great in Yorkshire. We own the land here, so
yeah.
Investors, you can come on board. You get first charge over the land here. It's a different thing.
Only sophisticated investors, by the way.
Against what Carol knows about, which is great. So it's a different approach here. We don't need to raise the money to build the product. Like I say, we're laser focused on. We've just put some of our pensions and funds in to finish off a couple.
Oh yeah.
But it's not black hole, guys. Don't banks out there, don't think Carol and I have got a bottomless pit of money, because we haven't. We definitely haven't. But then we have got a strategic plan for the first 2 quarters, and I'd really, relish any feedback for when I send the presentation out to the selected few. But it's an opportunity that's only going to be there for a couple of quarters, probably that sort of first 20 or 25 weeks of the year. After that, it'll be gone.
We're going to have to get our skates on, aren't we? But not at the compromise of delivering
nothing. That's the laser.
A couple of schemes.
That's the laser focused.
Yeah. I think we've bored everybody.
Yeah,
we've talked a lot. You and I can talk a lot, can't we?
If talking was an Olympic sport, you and I would be like Steve Redgrave with 5 medals on our chests.
You certainly would, that's for sure.
Yes, thank you. I'm poorly, I'll have you know. I haven't played that poorly card with Carol, don't I? I'm poorly,
I'm going to get you grapes.
I've got grapes. Carol brought me grapes today for the off as well. But I'm going to say thank you very much for all you've done for me, Carol Robinson. I wouldn't be here health-wise. Business-wise, I definitely wouldn't be here without you. So I will be eternally grateful till the day I shuffle my mortal coil for what you've done. And
no problem, because that's what people do for people. Mike's like my family. He's like my big brother.
Correct.
As well as my business partner.
And long may that continue. And I think, as a business, we're really as big as we want to be. We don't want to be some big, huge, for those who...
And you know why? I think in my mind, it's, we're both in our 50s.
I bloody am not. I'm 37. See any grey hairs there?
I think this thing...
Scottish hair, Scottish hair. My granddad had a full head of hair.
I'm getting your grey hairs.
Are you? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think, over the last few months, I've definitely got some more grey hairs.
Yeah.
But I think, I think it's sensible when you're, in your 50s, you need to be looking at your overall wealth journey, and you need to be de-risking.
Something you're very good at, that is that. When we first met, you talked about that.
Yeah.
And it really makes sense.
Conscious where your risk profile is and where you want to be sitting. And,
yes. And people, again, Carol's mentor.
I coach and mentor, yes.
Yeah, and you've
property, development, investment, wealth, broader wealth.
Yeah, broader wealth. It's and lots of people have benefited from that.
And that's not just financial, is it? Wealth is
health,
everything. It's health,
state of mind.
family, state of mind. It's just wealthy in all of your being, and wealthy in the way that you are going to be living your life in all aspects.
Yeah, you don't just judge the success by the amount of money you got in the bank.
Absolutely not. And you've always said that, and that's never been a priority for us.
Neither of us has. It's never been there.
How we want to live the life. and work with people.
Yeah, and it's, treating people and, our investors and subcontractors and everybody, and I could be tough for those who know it, but I'm very, very, very principled, I really, really am. But I think 2023 is going to be a great year. I think we're going to smash it out of the park.
Here's to smashing it out at the park, old boy.
You too. Happy New Year to you all, and we will see you
on the next one.
Take care. Happy 23. Bye.
Bye. Oh, can I switch this off?